Hi everyone, welcome to the SLM show, Small Language Models show. So this week marks a huge milestone for the RC team. I really don't know where to start and how to start because I have a lot of great news for you. Many of you know that RC has just closed $24 million Series A funding round, less than a year after our stealth launch. And also this week we've just launched Arcee Cloud, which is our SaaS platform. It is an end-to-end platform to train, merge, and deploy large language models and small language models. And also, the last but not the least, Julien Simon, ex-evangelist of Hugging Face, has just joined us. I'm super glad about having him on the board. I'm sure that he will bring a wealth of experience and insight into the team. So we usually do the show on Wednesdays, but we couldn't wait more for this to celebrate all these achievements. We decided to host a special edition of the show today. So I'm joined by co-host Mary MacCarthy, RC's head of growth today. And also we have Jacob on the show, our CTO, to show you a demo of Arcee Cloud. And also he will walk us through Arcee Doc, which is a thorough documentation of our product. And joining us today is Julien himself, here to share his insights and journey. So let's welcome Julien. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yeah, what a week, everybody. It's nice to see these smiling faces and a bit more relaxed than this time a week ago, I'd say, right?
Yeah, sure.
Welcome back to Startup World, Julian. I know you've done this before.
hmm
Let's dive in and hear more. I think I cut you off there with your planned question, Malikeh, but I'm going to ask Julian the first question. Um, tell lots of people in this field know you. Obviously, you're a face and a voice that's without aging you. You've been around the block in the AI world.
Oh yeah.
But for those who don't know you, tell us about your background.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I've been around the block. You can say that. I've been in tech for a little while, and I think that's great. It brings a lot of perspective and experience, and maybe at the end of the day, a bit of wisdom. I never called myself a wise person, but maybe it's coming little by little. So maybe 25 years from now, I will actually have a bit of wisdom. But seriously, I mean, I come from a software engineering background. Did lots of things, and I did recently spend 6 years at AWS. Originally I joined, before that I was a CTO and VP Eng, and I was doing all the crazy things that Jacob's now doing, and waking up at night on tech escalations, and putting out fires on Sundays and that kind of stuff. And that was fun, but yeah, I had to move on from there. So anyway, I did that for about 10 years, and then I got the opportunity to join AWS as a tech evangelist, and cloud was always very interesting to me. I've done physical infrastructure for a long time, and I thought cloud was solving a ton of problems. And then I found myself at AWS at the time where they started launching AI ML services, and and as a CTO, that stuff had been on my radar. I would say I indirectly, but I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. I need to double click on that. So, long story short, I started focusing on AI ML services at AWS and traveling all over the world and doing YouTube videos and blog posts and having good fun and helping a lot of folks along the way. And I thought 6 years was a good run. I thought I'd ticked all the boxes I wanted to tick there, almost all of them. And I bumped into Hugging Face, accidentally almost, because they were partnering with AWS on integrating their open source models and libraries into Amazon SageMaker, the machine learning service. I actually wrote the launch blog post for that,
Wow.
and I realized, wow, okay, these models, these transformer models are amazing. Like compared to previous deep learning models, RNNs and LSTMs, which I was working with. They were great, and I love the way they solved the problem of working with those super complicated models in just a few lines of Python, which I could understand. So one thing led to another, and then I joined Hugging Face, and I stayed there for almost 3 years, and helping customers, traveling some more, doing content and tons of customer meetings, and flying around, getting lots of miles, lots of contacts, hopefully helping people, right? Understand how to build cool stuff with open source AI, etc., and learning from them as well across different industries. And yeah, and that's and I guess Mark, it's no secret, Mark and Brian were in the early team. So I worked briefly with them before they left.
So our,
And
besides Jacob, our other two co-founders.
yes, exactly. And we stayed in touch, and we'll talk a little more about that later. But I was keeping an eye on them and what Arcee was doing, and I thought, wow, I think that's simply put, that's a better way to solve the problem. And another thing led to another thing, and here I am. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I'm always trying to optimize my own ROI, which is how much time and energy do I spend on learning things, and what's the ROI on helping people out. That's my optimization function, right? That's what I optimize for. People sometimes ask me that. What do you optimize for? I optimize for spending hours and days and weeks banging my head on the wall, understanding things, and whatever it takes to figure it out, and then helping people out through meetings or through content. And AWS for a while was for me the local maximum of that optimization process, and then Hugging Face was, and I believe Arcee is even better. And that's why, right? So I still love AWS. I'm still super impressed by what Hugging Face is doing, but when it comes to me being as useful as possible, I think Arcee is the place to be.
I was waiting for Malikeh to jump in because I stole her question. So it's on you. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
go
be
ahead.
fair with my co-hosting here.
Yeah, awesome. Actually, it was my next question to see how you end up with Arcee, and this is fantastic that you shared your journey with us, and still Hugging Face is one of our great partners, and
Sure.
it's opened up new doors to the community after with all those open sourcing stuff, and also the AWS team. We always closely work with them, and they support us. So that's fantastic. You talked about transformers that attracted your attention when you joined Hugging Face. How do you see the future? Do you see if transformers are still the future of LLMs and SLMs? Because people these days sometimes introduce new model architectures, Mamba, these sort of stuff. How do you see the future? Do you think is that still there?
So don't get me wrong, but I don't really care. I think um, those are just tools in the toolbox. And honestly, if a customer tells me about a particular problem and I think they should be solving it with XGBoost, and well, I will tell them that. It's like, if you always go with the simplest solution. And traditional deep learning is still great. There are a lot of particularly computer vision scenarios, and Jacob was at RoboFlow, so I'm not going to venture too much in that domain. Is the expert. But I meet with a lot of customers who are still doing, I would say, traditional CNNs and at the edge, and optimizing them, and YOLO and SSDs and everything else. And that's perfect. But for other use cases, and particularly, I mean, natural language processing, and anything that involves understanding the deep context in language, and well, large language models and transformers are amazing, right? And they keep getting better. So they're certainly not the perfect solution to everything. We still have a bunch of issues to improve on. And yes, there are new architectures, but it's like there's a tendency in tech to always chase the latest and greatest thing, and the shiniest toy. But it's like a dog chasing its own tail. You never get anything done. You can spend your day reading research papers. Here's the new training technique. Here's the new architecture. Here's the new QLoRa, whatever, um, and that's all good, you know. But I stand with customers. Okay, so yes, I'm an engineer. Yes, I love that stuff. Yes, I will go into linear algebra, and I was talking to I was talking to Jacob about that yesterday. Man, I need to brush up on a couple of things to understand spectrum and so on. And good, I love that. But I always stand with the customer and the folks that I meet. They run lines of businesses. They're C-level, or they're director level, and they want to know if AI is going to solve their customer support problem, or if it's going to solve um, you know, their uh, um, their knowledge base problem, or whatever it is they're trying to build. Okay, and I'll never get any single question on, should I be using transformers or should I be using something else? It's like, okay, can I even solve this? What kind of data do I need? How do I need to train my teams, before I even train my models, and so on and so on. So I think models will keep on getting better for sure. And yes, I'm trying to keep up, but I'm trying to be, fashionably late on state of the art. Like, I keep an eye on it, but I don't invest too much time, because that's not what customers are looking for right now. Customers are looking for, they're not looking for the super high performance race car that Jacob just built in his garage, right? They're looking for the reasonably priced family car that is dependable for the next 5 years, to drive the kids to school and to soccer practice or baseball
Yeah.
practice or whatever,
Let him crash it a few times.
Exactly. That doesn't kill anybody. That doesn't cost too much to maintain. That has good miles per gallon, etc. And Jacob can build that one too, right? And is building it. But you know what I mean. So
SLMs
it's
are like the Ford Taurus or the Toyota
yeah,
Prius of
exactly.
Gen
That's
AI. Yeah.
so yeah. So
It's
long
it's
story
not
short,
it's maybe not the most exciting, but it's what people want.
yeah, I am excited about everything that happens, and I do try to keep up to date. But that's maybe, I guess 10% of my time, and I guess 90% is, okay, what is actionable right now, right? If I'm going to talk to a Fortune 1000 company tonight about building a chatbot for customer support or for a document AI or whatever, okay, what should I recommend to maximize their own chance of success and minimize their risk, minimize their cost? And that's not the preprint on Archive from this morning, right? That's my own bias.
Yeah, what struck me with the few conversations we've had so far, Julian, is this focus you have on customers, because that's not always the perspective that evangelists, fancy title,
Yeah.
have. And sometimes, evangelists can take on many different roles, but from that perspective, because I feel like the sense I get is that you've kind of embodied that perspective, obviously previously at Hugging Face and now and prior to that at AWS. How have you seen the hype cycle evolve
hmm
over the past, we'll say 3 years, where obviously everyone had to be doing AI, Gen AI, and
Sure.
now things have gotten more realistic. Where has it landed?
So, I mean, in the early days of enterprise deep learning, which is probably, I would say, 2015, 2016, 2017, when I got involved, it was an elite of companies, and it was people with big problems who had no other option than to do it. It was like they had to do it to innovate. So, I guess autonomous driving and that kind of funny business. The more traditional companies, they were either not even looking at it, or they were trying to be fancy, but they, very, very few had some decent success. And then I think things got better, frameworks got easier. PyTorch kind of simplified kind of solved the TensorFlow nightmare that the industry was stuck in, and Hugging Face happened, and BERT and transformers and pre-trained models. So now all of a sudden, guys like me who have no formal training in machine learning. Like I said, I learned software engineering in the literally in the 20th century, right? I guess I learned a few things since then, but um, and the focus is okay. IT is evolving all the time, so now there's this thing called AI, which to me means machine learning, and I'm not quite sure what AI really is after all. And so, yeah, I can take data, I can apply it to solving problems, and I can use neural networks. But again, it is just a toolbox. And I think the turning point was obviously, the OpenAI models that educated the non-technical people. Like all of a sudden, your finance manager, your HR manager, your supply chain manager could, ask questions and see that, okay, if I copy paste that kind of text in there and ask questions on it, yeah, it's doing an okay job. And maybe that's a little bit better than my legacy IT system, or that machine learning project that IT never really delivered to me anyway. And so it was an eye opener, and it turned the conversation from, yeah, I'm gonna, so which TensorFlow model am I grabbing from GitHub to, or even which transformer am I grabbing from Hugging Face to, hey, wait, these are business processes that we think should be more efficient, more automated, etc. Is AI an answer to that? And OpenAI led the way, but also, it worked for some use cases. It didn't for a lot of them, and I saw a lot of POCs die because of well, privacy and lack of domain adaptation and cost. Right? Those were the three reasons, in not necessarily in that order, from one customer to the next. But and then I would say mid 2023 is when we started seeing the first really good LLMs. Llama 2, I think, was a turning point. It was really the first one where people went, yeah, wow, okay, I can get things done with this. Like Vicuna and the previous ones, they were nice, but they were still research animals and they didn't have commercially friendly licenses anyway. So Llama 2 was the one that kind of lit the fire, and from there, we had Mistral and we had Zephy and Llama 3, and I'm not going to list them all because it's crazy. And and yesterday we have Nova from Arcee. So everybody here, you need to go check out Nova. I have a YouTube video on it, so go watch the video and then go try the model. It's amazing. It's the best, literally, right? Trust me, benchmarks. So it's moving fast, and I think now people understand that a lot of customers I talk to understand they need to go to open source models first, because out of the box they get domain adaptation, which could be RAG, which could be fine tuning, which could be continuous pre-training, all those cool techniques that Jacob will tell us about later. And you can combine them, of course. But they also get privacy. They can self-host the models on their infrastructure of choice, which could be on-prem, which could be cloud, etc. And they get to tweak the ROI, right? Because they have control over the underlying infrastructure. So how fast is fast enough? I keep telling customers there is such a thing as too fast. It's like Jacob driving the Ferrari to to the gym. It's like, yeah, you could, but why? It's fun, but it's pointless. So why don't you take the family car or the reasonable car? And yeah,
Here's another way to take that analogy. I was kind of thinking about. So it's like the public transport infra. That's
oh,
the
yeah,
general
sure,
model. You don't want to rebuild the you don't need a bus to
it's
go to the
there.
gym. You want to buy
Yeah,
your company wants
it's there.
like a practical Ford
Yeah,
Taurus or Toyota
exactly.
Prius.
So
That's what the SLM is.
there is such a thing as too fast, and generally too fast means too expensive or too cumbersome. So those three things, finding the sweet ROI spot for each project, and having full privacy and having domain adaptation is what those open source models deliver. And of course, the smaller the models, the bigger the benefits, right? And generally the easier they are to work with. Simple is small is beautiful. It's still true for models. So I think that's where people are right now. Which begs the question, okay, and I think generally people get that, but the next question is, okay, no, so now what? Okay, Llama 3, great. Mistral, great. Quen, great. Now what? And I think because I'm here, Arcee is what, right? And that, I guess I woke up one morning and I asked myself, now what? And how do customers start from those amazing models and tailor them for maximum impact on their own business problem, on their own data? Where are the processes? Where are the workflows? Where are the tools to do that? With a zero compromise on quality. Not building toy models, building amazing models. And I looked around, and here I am.
Awesome, and we are so glad that here you are. uh, yeah, actually, Brian and I joined a meetup, Gen AI meetup in Boston, and we were getting this question a lot from different people, especially lay people and experts in domain experts, not like technical people. Why are you fine tuning SLMs? Like big companies are spending millions of dollars for Llama, this like OpenAI stuff. So why fine tuning SLMs? Why? What are you doing actually? And this was a question that if we have all those general Q&A chatbots, then where's the need for these SLMs fine tuned? And I think the model you named, and also the other model we've just released, Llama SEC, these are exact answers to those. And actually, you actually answered this question right now very well. That I think these big companies are burning dollars for just general knowledge, and sometimes some of these are just fighting over AGI. And the question is here: AGI, general intelligence, general knowledge versus actual use cases. Yeah. So Mark all the time says that, hey, go and search and find all those niche areas. Yes. And then try to fine tune and deploy over those. And this is what we are doing here. And I think you will answer that question. I hope you were in the meetup there as well. So I got the answer here very well. Thank you. And actually I wrote down this question just not to forget that, because in one of your LinkedIn posts this week, you wrote about the fact that customers are also looking for a straightforward solution from an infrastructure standpoint. Can you tell us more about that aspect?
Sure. It's a really good question, and I've met not so much now. I get people are getting wiser, but initially, people wanted to know, okay, so which GPUs do I need to buy? I was like, the meetings would start like that. It's like, well, what's your opinion? What should I buy? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Can we delay that question? And can we talk about the use case first? Because in my opinion, AI is not about infrastructure. It's about, so yes, you do need infrastructure, you need storage, you need compute, you need acceleration, and you need to be, it needs to be clever, because a lot of ROI will live or die on that infrastructure cost. But it's a side discussion. The main discussion is, what is this business problem something I can solve with AI? Do I have the company knowledge to solve it? How do I turn the company knowledge into data sets, which is to me the big story, right? I keep telling everybody, if you have data sets, you're always home. You're almost home. You're almost home. Not always, most of the time. And infrastructure is just a commodity. And I remember, like I said, I worked on physical infrastructure for almost 10 years. So I was in the data centers with my teams, spending weekends opening cardboard boxes, racking servers and storage and cabling them. And making sure that all the blinky lights were blinking in the right way. It was good fun, I have to say. I will never badmouth that stuff. We had a ton of fun doing that. But then, your marketing boss comes on Monday morning and says, yeah, we have this deal with Facebook and we need to connect Facebook to the platform as soon as we can. So it's like, well, and you do the back of the envelope calculation and you need another 200 servers. And well, that's it, right? It's going to be a tough discussion. So cloud is great, and cloud is abstracting all that stuff away. So I mean, all of you listening to us, I mean, you are certainly using cloud services. So if you use Amazon S3, do you need to understand how S3 works? If you use DynamoDB, do you need to understand how it's built? You don't. It's an API. You call it, and you trust S3 to not lose your data, and that's the way it should be. And whatever servers are used and whatever hard drives or storage systems are used is really irrelevant. And I think it's the story of tech. So I don't see any reason why AI would be different. People are trying to convince me it's always different. The internet was supposed to be different, and mobile was supposed to be different, and big data was supposed to be different, and now AI and ML, AI, and whatever comes next are supposed to be different. It's never different, right? It's always the same. We start from bare bones, doing a lot of integration work with hardware and open source and some commercial stuff, and builders will build, etc. And then companies start to go up the stack and provide higher level abstractions that companies can use in a friendlier way, in a simpler way, to get business done quicker, right? And AI is the same. So I think infrastructure is a problem for companies like Arcee to solve, or AWS. Like, okay, so what are the accelerators? What's the tech stack? What's the inference server that we think is the best to serve our customers? And then, do the stitching work and the patchwork, and by all means, save the customers from doing it, because they do not care, right?
Even
They
the one,
are they
even the
are
ones who
banks,
have
they
the
are
training.
airlines, they are
Yeah.
retailers, they are healthcare companies, they're hospitals, and their education, universities. Their mission is not to stitch hardware and software together. It's not, okay? They have tech staff, but they shouldn't be focusing on that. They should be focusing on delivering the greatest possible service to whatever customers or communities they're serving. And tech companies like Arcee and others are the ones who need to focus on the plumbing, as I call it. And so we need to be world-class plumbers so that customers can completely ignore it.
The few people I've done technical demos to, and don't worry, Jacob, I'm not doing many technical demos, but it's happened, are people who are deep enough to fully understand the plumbing, and they've been blown away by the ease of use
Yeah,
of our platform, which is actually a perfect segue because we're gonna dive into the
yeah,
platform in a
yeah. And
minute
it's
here.
it's important
So
to give visibility. Like, you don't want to build black box stuff, right? You want to build from proven pieces of technology. So if a customer needs to know, for maybe even compliance reasons, right, or auditing, if you need to demonstrate, okay, this is how we build it, this is the high level architecture, these are the building blocks, and you know them and you trust them, that's great, okay? And so transparency and accountability of a platform is very important, right? And we have a very great example right now of black box platforms failing all over the world, and grounding
right,
planes, and locking bank accounts and whatnot. So there you go, right? So you need to be building from the right building blocks and be able to explain to customers why you picked this or that and how things work, because again, some of them will need to know, but they should never have to do any of that stuff themselves, right? And if you can
absolutely.
keep it to 1 or 2 or 3 clicks, right? And that's perfect. That's what people want. Simple,
Amazing.
simple, a simple short path to business value, and trusting you that, hey, or us, that, hey, yeah, we build it right, and it's working.
Awesome, awesome. Well, everyone watching, there'll be obviously lots more to come from Julien.
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
much every day from now on. So this is a
Oh, well,
wonderful
in the,
intro.
yeah, we'll see.
But
Yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Like, I have a long list. I have a long list, and the team is pumping out, features and the models and all kinds of things. So yeah, the to-do list is growing, and that's perfect. I want to stay super busy, and I want to show all of you out there what Arcee is building and get your feedback. Okay, if you have feedback you can hit me directly on LinkedIn or wherever, on YouTube, anywhere,
awesome. And you're
and
going to
I'll
stay with
pass it
us
on.
for you'll stay with us for part 2. You want to see
Oh
the
yeah,
demo, right?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So
It's time for me to shut up and let Jacob do the cool demo, and I want
no,
to see that. Yeah.
all good. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well,
we
we'll be curious to talk about this a little bit together. Julien and I did get a chance. He's only been working with us a short time, but already starting to take apart the product a little bit. And we're really excited to have him here and his perspective on things, because it's sort of what we were thinking when we started building it, right? Which is, okay, you have Hugging Face. It's really useful to use open source. You have AWS. They have a few products in there like Bedrock and SageMaker, but no one's quite doing the adaptation and SLM adaptation system the best, right? And there's a big opportunity to do that. This was a big week for SLMs in general. I think more people are looking at this as legitimate technology that they could implement. We're here with a platform that we've already been building to make this more streamlined and faster. And we've been spending long nights and weekends doing the hard plumbing here that we're going to keep doing, and we'll keep the servers running as well. So that airlines and banks don't have to, like Julien said, be thinking about that in their nights and weekends, right? So that's some cool stuff that we've been building here. So I guess I'll kind of dive in and share a little bit about what we've built so far. We
yeah.
can talk about it and talk about different pieces of it.
I think you do present. We've done this before. Once you share it there, then I'll pop it into the screen.
Okay, can you see it
There we go. Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of like the very high level boiled down graphic of where the Arcee platform sits today. You can bring open source models from Hugging Face, and you can use Arcee training APIs to create models. And then we found that it's extremely useful to then merge these models. For example, if you're fine tuning or continuously pre-training the model, it's often the right idea to merge your model after you've trained it. So we have a model merging system that connects these open source models and your proprietary models together to make a model that you own. You can always download this model from the platform. That makes us very different than many other AI services that you'll consider using, which will be locked. Weights will be locked behind APIs and rate limited. There's none of that going on at Arcee. This is a training and merging engine. You can also use our deployment services, right? We have scaling deployment services where you can scale your inference and deploy your model. And the best part about this as well for AWS-minded folks is you can run this in your AWS VPC, meaning that you can keep your data and model artifacts private here. So that's kind of the higher level graphic view of the product, but now we can kind of dive in and look a little bit about the pieces that we've actually built. So if I'm here, this is my workspace here. I have various workspaces that I'm a part of in organizations. Those organizations have people that I can collaborate with there. It's a multi-tenant app here on the hosted app that we're hosting. Things are pretty simple to utilize as an engineer, right? Your API tokens are right here. You can get them there. The docs are right here. And then here are the existing APIs that you can utilize. So for deployment, that we have our SEC model here that's available for query. So this is our kind of example model of what we've adapted with using these techniques of training and then merging this model and SEC filings together. So I could ask it, maybe I'll ask it kind of a deep question about NVIDIA. Like, do you think NVIDIA's GPU sales will be recurring or mostly off of the tech company balance sheets. You know, that's something people are really debating, you know, for NVIDIA is like, is this, you know, did everyone just unload a bunch of cash to grab all the scarce GPUs, or are they going to just like keep buying that many GPUs every year? It's hard to know. And then I'll ask it to cite some statistics. So this is an example of just kind of one that we put up to train on a general domain that exists for demo purposes. Of course, for most businesses, they'll be training this on their own data. And another thing here for the query time, we're running a little bit of a web search here orchestrated before we go into the generator. But this model is also open source. You can find it on our Hugging Face hub. So here you can see, you know, it's talking about, you know, different stats that it's gathered from NVIDIA SEC filings and different facts about what it's synthesizing. So the pathway that we went to make this model is using pre-training, a continuous pre-training routine, where you're doing next token prediction across a corpus of text. So we boiled this down to a pretty simple routine that you can run. So you can add a corpus here with just an S3 bucket. So you can link your S3 bucket here. There's some docs here about adding permissions to the S3 bucket. And then you can dump the data into Arcee. This will tokenize it, so you can choose which tokenizer for the target model that you're going to pre-train. And then it will load in here and you'll get a token count. So I have a couple of some really small, slim corpuses here. There are only a few million tokens, but you're going to want maybe like 500 to a billion tokens, which is roughly 4 gigabytes or so of text to get this to actually work pretty well. So this is kind of like a deeper domain adaptation routine. Another routine that you have here is just fine-tuning routine. So this is where you can do input and output text to kind of steer models. This is more useful if you're like making something where you want to have like an API router or something that's a little bit more constrained, like a SQL generator or something like that. But generally for knowledge injection, we're thinking about using continuous pre-training. And then for directing model responses, you can think about fine-tuning routines. And then the last one, which is probably unique to a lot of people who have been working in language model space, is merging. This is something that people have been getting pretty excited about, that we're known for pioneering in the field, is model merging. So we can look at this merge that I did here. And you can see here, you can put your merge kit YAML in here. There is some work that we're doing on the merge, actually, to make this kind of more of an automated process. It's this concept of evolutionary model merging, where you simulate different merge configs as you're going through here to find the best way to combine your models. But that's something that's coming soon as well. And then when you have your models done here, right, you can go to deploy, and you can deploy any of the models here, and this will spin up an endpoint for you within AWS, where you can query this. And like Julien said, you know, each one of these routines that we've done here, we put a lot of attention into, of, you know, very carefully crafting the plumbing that is going behind these. Which containers are we running? What versions are we running? What models are we supporting? How are we streamlining both training efficiency, training loss, training accuracy, deployment speed, deployment accuracy, and trying to make this, you know, really into really practical utility. Like Julien was saying, it's just get the job done quickly and efficiently, and, you know, in a method that's going to, you know, be this like Toyota Prius for my business that I can, you know, just really run efficiently. I can get a whole fleet of those to run different tasks, and then go from there. So I'll pause there before actually diving into more docs if people want to do that. So yeah.
Just real quick, Jacob, from what we've seen here. So I go to the Arcee AI website, take a look around. Website looks pretty awesome. And then I go to sign in to Arcee Cloud free tier.
Yep,
will I see everything that you've just shown me there in the free tier, Or
Yeah, so yeah, let me log out here. So if you're not logged in, you just go to sign in here, and then you can sign up for an account. You'll make an organization where you can invite a few people from your team, and you can get started today, like right now. So yeah, if someone wants to post an S3 link in there and continuously pre-train, that'd be pretty cool.
Amazing. We have a question here. Let me pop it up from Sri Vadi, who is wondering about the merges. How does merging work? Can you do 2, 3, 4 models max?
Yeah, there is no limits to the merge. You can specify as many models in there as you want. Of course, if you put like 100 models in there, but our GPUs would probably run for a while. But yeah, no, you can merge as many models as you want.
Amazing.
Yeah, and just a quick comment. So this is actually based on an open source library called MergeKit, right? And the creator of MergeKit, Charles, is actually working for Arcee now. And so yeah, I would encourage you to Sri to go check out MergeKit. You can go check out. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And you can read about the different merging techniques, and yeah, some of them are just 2 models, but some are unlimited. Although yeah, Jacob said it would make sense to to merge 29 different models probably. And there's that's very easy to use and experiment, and obviously and Jacob hinted at that. I think the merging configuration becomes kind of a hyperparameter problem again, right? In your example, I think you had 50% Mistral 0.1 and 50% Mistral 0.2. So how would you know it's 50% or yeah, exactly that,
Yeah,
0.5
exactly. Yeah,
of each, so you could start there and say, I want equal parts because I like the qualities of those 2 models, and I'm trying to get a third model that has all the goodness from the 2 parents, so to speak. But this becomes a problem, right? So that evolutionary merging feature that you discussed will be super, super exciting because the maybe 0.48 and 0.52 end up delivering a much better model. And well, nobody would really know why, but you would just see that it performs better. And I think this is going to be super exciting to launch.
Awesome. Did we want to take a quick look at the docs, Jacob? We're out of time, but let's do a 60-second look at the docs. I know that a ton of work went into those.
Yeah, I won't bore everyone to death with all the details of these, but behind these dashboards and things are some really great APIs. You can code with them. You can automate these training routines. You can run all of this from your CLI and from your Python libraries. So all of the gory details, if you're any engineers in the audience and you're like me, you'll really want to dig in here. There's a lot of great things about how and what you can do behind the Arcee platform. So any technical minded audience, you can always get an API key here, and then you're off to the races. So
yeah, and I started testing that, and it's straightforward. And again, the library is on GitHub too, so it's called Arcee Pi, right? So go check it out. If you find problems, please file GitHub issues. And I'm sure Jacob would love some pull requests, right? If someone out there wants to help with the library, or the docs or something, I think would be more than happy to welcome your contributions. So I'll try and do my part, but yeah, we need proper Python developers on in the community working on this. So yeah, that's an open invite. Help us out.
Malikeh, I know you're probably going to wrap, but do we have time for one question?
Yeah, sure.
Quick?
We have the last question from Ahmed here. He says, how fine-tuning for SLM different for LLM or same like using LoRa? Jacob?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, low rank adaptation. It's really useful. Yeah, if you have a small GPU and you want to train a large language model, you can utilize that. Arcee, like we have, you know, a parameter efficient fine tuning option. In some cases, maybe you want to protect the base weights with that on an SLM, but most times we recommend just full fine tuning in SLM, which you can easily do on Arcee, and it will run pretty quick.
Awesome.
And Ahmed, nice to see you there. It's, you know, I knew you'd be there. So yeah, and again, we're out of time, but check out Spectrum. Check out.
Oh
Spectrum.
yeah, that's also a great other area.
Jacob, maybe you want to say a few words. You'll say smarter things than I will.
Yeah, no, that's another library we have, open source, that you can utilize, which does freezing actually of parameters. So the least active parameters in the general checkpoint, you can freeze that and then tune from there. So it's sometimes a little bit better than different PEF methods that have been released.
Yeah, fantastic. So you're a bit out of time. Thanks everyone for joining. So as the final word, I would say that this Arcee platform and all these achievements were just not a one-day thing. Like, it was 24/7 work of the research team, product team, marketing team, HR team, everyone together. I don't want to name them one by one because I'm scared I miss a name. But like, I just want to say thanks to everyone, and also specifically Mark, our CEO, Brian, our CRO, and Jacob, our CTO, for putting together such a great team. Like I told it to Jacob, like, this company is like a second home to us, and I'm really proud to be part of this team. So see you very soon at the next show. And it's just a big stay tuned.
I'm going to jump in with a couple of responses here. Wahid is asking who's responsible for partnerships. I'm not, but you can write to me and I'll put you in touch with the right person. So it's Mary@Arcee.ai. And for people who are asking where you can see the recording of the show, it will live on our LinkedIn page. Normally we simulcast to YouTube and Twitter because something's wrong with the universe today. The simulcast didn't go through to those two
I wonder
platforms.
what
So
it is.
I wonder what's going on. Not our technology problem, but I'll make sure it
No.
gets on our YouTube and Twitter pages as well. So you'll see the full recording there. So amazing show, and fun to co-host with you, Malikeh.
Same here. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. See you soon.
Thanks everybody.
Have a
See you
great
soon.
weekend. Cheers.
Bye-bye.